Good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm so excited to be. I was just having a minute there. I'm just waking up this morning. Oh, let me just fix this so I got a little bit more synergy going on here this morning. Okay. All right. Getting my act together. It was just interesting. I was reading in the news that how they're trying, like where I am, they're restricting travel just because of what's going on in the world. And it was really interesting to hear people's points of view about it and how they're sometimes we don't see the big picture of things, right? And how we can shift things on our own and make decisions that are good for ourselves. And so, I thought if we just all have a little bit more space about that, that would be just really great. But it's hard when you're in the situation, you're just trying to deal with it, right? So, today I want to talk about powerful affirmations and why we use them and why they're important and how they can actually not just shift how you think about things, but actually your mindset, help you to step into your power and your success, help you to shift your point of view about things that aren't serving you anymore and being willing to let go and embrace new things that are. And I think all of these things are really, really important. So let's get started. So first of all, I wanted to talk first about the difference between mantras and affirmations, because I think sometimes there's a lot of confusion around that. It sounds like they're in the same family for sure, but they're totally different things, right? And you know, um, as a leadership accelerator, it's important to know what those are, because people come to you and they ask, well, what if I want to do a mantra about something? What if I want to do an affirmation about something? So they have different functions, but they still bring you to the same conclusion. So mantras and affirmations are very different. Mantras are sounds that carry vibration, to get you in harmony with the universe, I guess. When you hear monks chanting, it's usually a mantra. When you hear, the speakers in the mosques, and you hear the chanting, that's a mantra, right? Whereas affirmations are positive statements to help you reprogram your mind. So they're a little bit more personalized, with you in the now. Now, both of them can help you improve yourself and accept yourself and achieve your goals, right? But I wanted you to know what the difference is there. So let's just go over this in a little bit more detail. So the word mantra in the Sanskrit language means the thought that liberates and protects, right? And the root of the word man means to think, and tra means to protect or liberate. So that kind of breaks it down. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. A mantra can be formed by one syllable or a combination of syllables. And the most important part of the mantra is the sound, okay? And the vibration of the utterance that produces, right? The vibration of the mantra has a frequency that carries the power. And if you want to learn more about mantras, you can Google it, but the thing about having a mantra is the vibration of the mantra can surround you when you chant it out loud. There's also a lot more power because we're so self-conscious of our voice. Chanting something out loud isn't something you see every day. It's usually done in a religious service or in some sort of private capacity, right? When you chant it in silence, the mantra, you can vibrate inside you, but merely listening to the mantra, you can also benefit from its vibrations, right? So mantras work if you chant them regularly. It doesn't matter if you chant them out loud or in silence. Before you start chanting, set your intention. Okay. And then I'm going to go into affirmations. So you can use both of these, right? Mantras are tools that can help you feel alive and, really reach an inner state of contentment. And, today I think we struggle with that so much more than we ever did. So it's really an important thing, if that's something you choose to do. The mantra's power lies in the vibration produced by the utterance of it, by saying it. Okay. There are countless mantras. I mean, you can find millions of them. You just need to choose the one that fits your best intention, just like the same thing you would do with an affirmation. Some mantras have melodic sound and a beautiful meaning, but the meaning of the mantra isn't essential. the vibration or the sound that harmonizes with you in the universe is what is. Okay, because that's what carries specific power, and you're going to use that power to align your vibration to whatever it is that you want. Okay. Usually it takes 2 to 3 months of daily mantra chanting to see some sort of difference if you're really consistent about it. So there's a couple ones that you can go out there. You can Google them. And there's a lot of them. If you want to look, you can look under Buddha, the teachings of Buddha. There's a ton of them. I know that one that I've used before is Har 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 Gobinde. That's really popular. Yeah, so this is not religious or anything like that. This is just about raising your vibration and getting you to shift your mindset in your leadership and your business. So now let's go into affirmations. What are affirmations? So affirmations are positive statements. Keyword there, guys, positive statements, okay, that you repeat in a language which you understand. Okay, you can use affirmations to depict an intention of something for something you long for or something you aim to achieve. You can create positive affirmations about anything in your life. Honestly, the sky's the limit, right? So affirmations aim to change your negative patterns of thinking and speaking into positive ones, right? And this is where that shift in mindset starts to happen, right? For example, you can replace I can't, I won't, I don't, I am not with I can, I will, I do, and I am, right? Like as simple as that. So a lot of it is paying attention to your languaging, okay? How to use affirmations. So using affirmations is not difficult, but it requires focus and repetition, okay? Here are easy steps to get you started. So number one is awareness. I think we talked about this when we shift our mindset. Number one is awareness, right? Become aware of your negative thoughts and what is not serving you. Okay. Number two, choose an affirmation that helps you transform your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Okay. So you need to choose something that resonates with you, right? So I'm not going to say today I am going to be successful in business and help 50 people, right? If that doesn't resonate with me, right? It has to be something that connects with the core of your being. And for some of you, this is going to be a whole new way of thinking, right? And that's where we want to get you. A whole new way of thinking. Because you know what? It can't hurt you. It can only help you, right? And the third one, and the most important one, is I want you to observe the change in your thinking and speaking. You know, it was so funny. So many years ago, I was packaged out of my position, but as we were settling with the lawyers, and it was not a good exit. Okay, I was forced to work there for 6 weeks while this was being settled. It was a nightmare. Every day I would sit at my desk. I was never given any work to do, really. I was just waiting it out. And I would do affirmations every day. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to find the right thing to do. I'm being taken care of. Like even it was almost like a chanting I was doing, right? You know, which is more on the mantra side of things, but it was still an affirmation. And I found after like a month, I just kind of let go of things. And, you know, I just eventually said to them, look, I'm going to be sick tomorrow and every day after that until you guys settle. But it was a peace. It wasn't a mean thing. It was just a peaceful thing. It's just like, I'm done with this, right? And I don't need to be here anymore. And wouldn't you know it, the next day everything was settled. We had all the settlement papers were done. I was out of there. I said my goodbyes to everyone in a really good way and I walked out, right? You know, and I've never been back because I got what I needed. But I'm telling you, in those few weeks, once I started doing that, even though I was so stressed about everything going on, it just really calmed me down and gave me focus. And that's what I want for you guys. Okay. So be patient with yourself with this. Okay. All right, good. So the next thing I want to talk about, a question that I get. And I want to give you one other thing. So Louise Hay, unfortunately, she passed away in the past few years. She's one of my favorite author for affirmations. Her books and affirmations are fantastic. They helped me immensely, you know, so check her out. And I usually don't give accolades, but she's one of my favorites, right? So, do you have to say affirmations out loud? You do not have to say affirmations out loud. You can repeat them in silence or in your head. Keep in mind that it can be harder to focus if you are repeating them in silence. When you repeat affirmations, you are directing your attention to those words, okay? And as opposed to mantras, where you direct your attention to the sound, right? Rather than the meaning of the word, right? So when you affirm something in your mind or out loud, you change your habitual thinking and speaking. And that in turn will change your beliefs. Everything works together. It's like a process, right? New beliefs will guide you to act differently, which will change your reality. Remember a time when all of a sudden you had this kind of epiphany about something in your life, and maybe it was a health issue or something, and you totally had to change the way you behave. So you've taken on this new thing, and everybody's like, what's different about you? What's going on? Right? That's when you know that these things are starting to work, right? The more you affirm something, the more real it becomes. So if you have negative thoughts, you reinforce those negative patterns, then the more misery comes into your life. But if instead you reinforce positive thoughts, you will attract good things in your life and have more positive things flow towards you. Okay. Now, how do affirmations work? This is a great question, right? Every time you're consciously making an affirmation, you are taking control over your subconscious. Every time. You are sending the message that you are taking responsibility for your life so you can create something pleasant. The awareness of your thoughts can show you the way you are thinking. You can have the choice to decide if you want to think positive thoughts or negative thoughts. An affirmation will empower you to create the life you want, and it could be hard to stay positive or think positive all the time. Listening to affirmations can help you to set in your subconscious mind the new positive pattern of thinking. And before you go to sleep, think and affirm something you need or want in your life. Take this last thought into your sleep. And I've done this before. This is really powerful, right? The message will permeate your subconscious, Then it will become easier for you to affirm it consciously and believe what you say is possible. Like at night, I listen to a music meditation, right, that calms me, right? But you could be speaking your affirmation in your mind as you're falling asleep and let it sink into your subconscious. Now, last thing I want to talk about, well, not last thing because I got lots to talk about today, but we're going to run short on time. So how long do affirmations take to work? Now, according to Louise Hay, it's different for everybody. First of all, it's about 30 days. If you think of it as a habit is usually 21 to 30 days, right? To achieve results, you need to be repeating the same affirmations throughout the day for 30 days because it really, like, we're stubborn as human beings, right? We need it again and again and again, right? During this time, you will create a new neural mesh of positive thoughts that will change your beliefs, okay? So it's so important to go over that, right? Um, so I wanted to go over some of the best affirmations that I've heard, but I wanted to give you some examples first of some negative and some positive so that you can see how you would shift the same affirmation. Okay. So here are some examples. The first is the negative way of thinking and how you can convert it into a positive affirmation. Okay. So the first one would be, my income is never enough. That's the negative one. The positive would be, my income is constantly increasing. It's really that simple, guys, honestly. I'm afraid to speak. It's safe for me to speak up for myself. Bad things always happen to me. How many times have I heard that one? I deserve all that is good. I'm afraid to pursue my dreams. That's another one. I have the courage to live my dreams. So it's right here in the now. It's happening. I feel stuck in life. This is very common. And the positive one to that is, I am willing to change. I know that is scary, guys, but until you're comfortable in the uncomfortable, things will not change. Jump in, do it, get into action. The next one, another common one. I hate my job. I do what I love and I love what I do. See how beautiful that is? And the last example here is I have so much pain in my body and I'm always sick. Love flows through my body, healing all disease. So these examples are, it's just how you can turn things around, right? Now you have a better understanding of what mantras and affirmations are and their differences and how they're used in different ways for different purposes. Okay. Be bold and, try it all out, right? So, figure out what works best for you because really it's all about you and what you're looking for, right? So the next thing I kind of want to talk about, time goes so fast here in the morning, is why are daily affirmations so important? And I think that this is really something we should just touch on, right? Um, it isn't really about the words you say. It's about choosing to believe and feel something before the external evidence of that thing shows up in the world, right? Um, it's just so, it's kind of like you're putting faith in your affirmation, right? And, I really feel like there's so many reasons why this works. So the changes that can happen to you don't just become because of the words themselves. They're kind of like the precursor to everything. It's the negative thoughts on the cycle on repeat that are powerful because they are what we believe about our reality. And thereby we notice we move towards and attract more of that. So an affirmation is more than just positive thinking. If you try to use positive thoughts to bypass something you're hurt, angry, or upset about, you really aren't affirming the thing that you desire. If there's negative emotion around the thing that you want to change, you still have to do the work. You can't just be saying, I hate that guy because he ripped me off, for $1,000 and say, well, so I'm bringing in money really easily and clearly. You have to deal with the guy, how he's pissed you off, and the anger about that before you can start with the affirmation, right? So affirmations will only really help you when you begin to feel the thing you are saying as true before you see the evidence of it. So in that case, I would be saying, any anger I have towards this man is gone, and I only have love for him. Money follows me everywhere in big amounts. So I dealt with the problem and then I brought in what I wanted to with it, right? And I keep saying that and saying that and saying that. And what happens is the charge on him dissipates, right? And when you work to remove and make peace with your conditioning and your internal obstacles, uh, you can do this through personal transformation work. And this is not hard. This is not woo woo. This is just something you do every day, like brushing your teeth, right? Um, if you are wondering how to do daily affirmations, start by identifying the things you're struggling with and ask yourself, what would be the opposite of that? Because the opposite of your current struggle is the thing you want to affirm, right? You want to get rid of the negative, bring in the positive. So I want to talk just a little bit about how to start doing this, how to start, not just writing, but saying daily affirmations. Okay, so let's go through a couple of tips. I think there's 4 or 5 tips, maybe 6 or 7. So the first one is you want to start with the words I am. These are the two most powerful words in the English language. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, use the present tense. It's happening now, not woulda, coulda, shoulda someday, right? Because that's just kind of never happening. It's kind of floating out there and there's no direction around it. Okay. The third one is stated in the positive. Affirm what you want, not what you don't want. Because we can trick ourselves into believing it's what we want, yet we phrase it as something we don't really want. Number 4, keep it brief. You got to remember this. You want to make it repeatable and doable really quickly, right? You want to make it something easy to remember. Okay. Number 6, include an action word ending in ing. So I am making endless amounts of money every single day with absolute ease. How does that sound? That sounds great, right? And include at least one dynamic emotion or feeling word, like I am making endless amounts of money with absolute ease, and it makes me so excited. Okay. Something like that. And then the other thing I want to say is, and some people get caught in this trap, the last one is make your affirmations for yourself. Don't make them for someone else. It's not about them, it's about you, right? Um, remember, the affirmation you can create can be simple. It just needs to be the positive thing you are feeling challenged by right now. Okay. And once you feel you've written an affirmation that feels exciting for you, practice spending a few minutes each day repeating your affirmation. And as you repeat it, utilize your imagination to visualize what it and feel what it feels like when the thing you're affirming is actually your reality. Don't wait for the outer results to feel those positive feelings. Use this exercise to start feeling and rehearsing it now. Bring it into the reality of your future. And this is how you use an affirmation to attract what you desire. Okay. All right, good. All right, and I got a few minutes here. Yay. Okay. So, let's see. I wanted to do something cool. So I went and I Googled, and I think this is going to be so great. Some of the top affirmations. So let me get those. I had so much material on this. Okay, here we go. The 10 top most powerful affirmations of all time. Are you guys ready? Here it is. Okay. So, okay, here we go. Okay, the first one, number 1, I am grateful for the blessings in my life. Okay. Number 2, today I look for and appreciate the good. Number 3, I welcome joy into my life. Can you noticing how short these are? Okay. Number 4, I am in tune with the abundant nature of the universe. And you're probably thinking, well, how does that help me? Well, you know what? It brings everything into balance for you. Number 5, money comes to me in unexpected and expected ways. Number 6, my body knows what's best for my health and my well-being. Number 7, this is a great one. I attract the perfect people at the right time. Okay. Number 8, I deserve happiness and success. Number 9, something wonderful is always on the verge of happening. I love that one, right? And number 10, and the most important one, as far as I'm concerned, is I am worthy, I am enough. And I think too many times not enough times do we hear that. We forget how we're givers and we forget to be receivers about things, right? And then I wanted to give you as a final couple words here is some of the affirmations that I use daily. I use one by Napoleon Hill, and you can pick someone that you look up to or you admire. So this is the one I use every single day. And there's a few of them I'm going to go through. Tony Robbins, not only am I going to equal your achievements in life, you can stick anybody that you look up to there. I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Say that every day. Okay. Here are some other good ones. How does it get better than this? What else is possible here? What would it take? How can I be greater today than I was yesterday? How powerful can me and my business be? How can I contribute to the world today? And what can me and my business do and be to be super successful on a global level? So there are some more business related ones in there. I mean, these are really simple affirmations, and you can, there's tons, you can make up your own. So that's our show for today. My name is Laura Armstrong with leadershipwithlaura.com, and I'm so excited to be here every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Diamond Factor Show with Barbara Beckley. You can reach out to me at Laura at leadershipwithlaura.com. And please take advantage of my free 3-day leadership challenge at leadershipwithlaura.com/3daylc. It's absolutely free. You can go through it, and it's going to get you to challenge your leadership, challenge yourself, and challenge your business. All right, I will see you all next week. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Diamond Spotlight interview, another episode. My name is Barbara Beckley. I'm the founder of the Diamond Factor Spotlight Interview, LLC, where the mission is to empower women to understand what I call their PPD. their purpose, their passion, and their drive. And this platform is to make sure to increase their visibility and shine like a diamond to the world. Today, as everybody knows, I call the wonderful ladies Queen Diamonds. And we have in the house royalty. Daphne Walbridge, oh my God, she is an author of First Year Principles 52 Practical Lessons to Help New Principals Thrive as Consistent Leaders and a superintendent in the Northern Ontario in Canada. And I love when I interview the wonderful queens from other countries. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So Daphne, yes, we are here. We were just talking in our virtual green room, as I call it. And this lady, I'm telling you, she is phenomenal to the point of just being patient with me. We've been trying to get this interview together for how long, Daphne, and
I
it's finally
know.
here.
Well, the stars are aligned now, so we are here, and we're going to enjoy our time together for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. I always say I love to have those talks where things just happen, life happens. So my audience, they're always like, Barbara's always she's gonna be vulnerable. I say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Just to let everybody know that there's a connection there. Things happen. So, but really, this is a way to really spotlight you, and I want people to get to know you. So first, I always ask, how did you start? Way because you're an author. I know you're doing a whole bunch of other things. How did you
Mhm.
start? What made you become, what you're doing now?
So there's two, I guess, ways of looking at it. I have the career that I'm in right now, which is I'm a superintendent of education, which I love doing. I love it. But I also have the creative side that feeds my leadership, and this is where writing books and recording vlogs and coaching aspiring principals and new principals, that's where it comes in. So it's kind of like they're kind of like intertwined, they're interconnected. So I decided to write the first year principle when I was a principal. And as I was preparing to become a principal, I felt that there was missing a little bit of literature. I mean, there are a lot of great books out there to help you prepare, but I wanted to have a book that really represented, that spotlighted the little micro lessons, but that are so important, kind of like the cheat sheet, if you will, to help aspiring principals
Mm-hmm.
um, narrow that first year learning gap. Like the
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, those
Mm-hmm.
lessons that really need to be mastered before you enter the role. So I started documenting my first year. And when I was a vice principal at the high school level, I had that experience, principalship, and now as a superintendent. So I kind of blended all of these lessons and I created this book to help new principals thrive as conscious leaders. So
Wow, that's awesome.
that's what I
So now, because I know you said you're a superintendent because it's nice to get those principles. I think right now with leadership, people have the wrong interpretation sometimes of what leadership is all
Mhm.
about. A lot of times people feel like it's a managing and being over and being like ruling and stuff. And I tell people it's not a dictatorship at all. It really
No.
isn't. So can you just give us a little take on how you feel about leadership in general?
Of course, yes. Leadership for me is really about, and it's about being of service. It really is. It's a very humbling position where you need to look inward all the time. You need to question your co-creation in whatever is unfolding. So, for example, if one of my principals, for example, is struggling with something, the first question I ask myself is, how can I be of service to this person, or did I contribute in some way in this struggle? And if so, how, and how can I be of service? So you really have to get the ego out of it, and you have to really approach it in a way where you're being authentic. You have to be vulnerable, transparent, and not and ask for help. I see leadership as breaking down the silos and really working collaboratively, having as many people around the table with these perspectives to make the best decisions possible, in my case for my school or for my district. So yeah, that's how I see leadership.
Yes, definitely. And I always tell people in leadership, I'm loving what you brought up about servant, because I always look at servantship.
Yeah.
And when I lead, if it's on a project or, where I work at or just my business and working with people, I always tell people, I say, I'm here really for you. I'm here to help you with what I can give you, the tools that I have in me. And then hopefully that will help you move to the next level. And I said, now, if you move higher than I am, that's what I want. I want you to reach the stars and even be reached, higher than what I'm doing, because that's what a leader does. They basically look at a person's objectives in life and what they want to do and help them, to obtain those and get the results.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And even the word servant leadership, I read a lot of books by Patrick Lencioni, who is he's a guru of leadership. And he says, the word servant leadership shouldn't even exist, because it should automatically be leadership should mean being of service,
Yes.
And I agree with that, because really you're there to, you're there to serve, to be of service. But like you mentioned, Barbara, you're there to rise people up and to push them out of their comfort zone, to tool them up so they will fly on their own. And if that means surpassing you, that means surpassing you. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely. So now I was going to ask you that with with what you do now. I always dig a little deeper when I'm talking to my queens about like when you first decided, because I know you've been in education for a while. So
Mhm.
what made you just say, you know what, I want to get into that when, at a really younger age?
Into education or
Yeah.
into it? Well, I grew up in a family of teachers. So it was actually really a practical reason. I was in my early 20s, independent. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my salary, a pension, security, summers off. Basically, it was
Right.
very practical. Okay.
Yeah.
And because I knew the environment, I had seen my father as a high school teacher, my mom as an elementary school teacher. I preferred the high school level, and it was a nice, steady environment for me. It was nurturing, and I saw myself there. And
Mm-hmm.
I grew into the role of educational leader formally, because we're all leaders. We don't have to have a title to be a leader, but if we're
Mm-hmm.
talking
Okay.
form, I got my first role as a leader when I was heading the special ed department at the high school where I taught. I did that for 9 years. And there I started seeing that, I like this. I like the energy I'm feeling when I'm solving problems and I'm helping people collaborate, and we're working with for parents who are having children who are struggling, and it just felt good. And after that, that's when I decided to complete a master's and get the papers and all that. And then the first position came up where I could become a vice principal. I got it the second time. I didn't get it the first time. Got it the second time, so I had to build up new skills after being rejected the first time. And then after that, I got a principalship, and then I moved quickly up from the principalship to the superintendent. And just to be clear, in Canada, superintendent is akin to your assistant superintendent. And then for after superintendent, we have director of education, which is I think a superintendent in the States. So the jargon's a little bit different, but we do the same. So it moved quickly. I got the leadership bug, and I built more confidence because I was in, I guess, the battlefield. I was there helping, and I developed skills on the job, and I really loved it. I thought, this is where I need to be. I need to be in these positions to be of service to as many people as possible.
Well, I'm loving it because, like I said, it really starts at an early age. What you're doing. A lot of times, even me, I think about back when I was, well, now I'm going way back because I'm telling my age. I think about when I was in school and, the different courses that I took. And I really wish they had more of about, really being that servant leader, understanding the steps.
Mhm.
Like you said, even if it's supposed to be part of us, like you said, Daphne. But a lot of times some people don't understand it. Just like, I wish they had a lot of things about budgeting and, just like
Yeah,
the practical, like you said, the practical lessons that we need
yeah,
to know. But it seemed like they gave us other, courses that are like, okay, I
yeah,
understand we got to pass to get there, but it would have
yeah.
been nice to have these practical courses. What do you
Yeah,
think
for
about
sure.
that?
I agree. And it's funny because I was interviewed a few weeks ago, and this same question from another American channel, right? And the same observation came up where, the practical life lessons, leadership, budget, like these type of, should be taught. But I guess it's only through our own growth and evolution that we realize these things. And but one thing I do want to mention is that it's funny, sometimes you start off somewhere.
Mhm.
And I think it's important, and I'm speaking to the women listening to this, is you need to tap into your body a lot and your emotions and when you're processing your journey, how you're feeling when you're experiencing different challenges or opportunities, and really tapping into your body and saying, this is feeling good. The energy I'm feeling here is really, really good, and keep exploring that. Because I did this unconsciously, and then the doors started opening, and there were I did not start off in education thinking I want to rule the school district. Not at all. I remember taking my principal's papers, and I was like, well, there's no way I want to be a principal. Too many responsibilities, but that was 14 years ago. And but I had the papers just in case, right? And I sat on those qualifications for 13 years, 10 to about 12 years before I acted on them. I used them. And I just knew, I just kept going inward and thinking the time is right, the energy is right, and I need to follow this journey because it's something in me is aligning right now. And I think we have to come from that internal space as well as we progress on our journeys, our professional or personal journeys.
Yes, Deb, you're so right. You're so right. We have to have that inward, like I always say, we all have that inner voice. And to
Yeah.
tell us, even though we're kind of like, like you said, because I've been there too, we're like, do I really want to do this? Because I work in insurance during the day, and I had to take the exam and get my license and stuff. It's like, oh my God, I'm about to really do this. But then something was propelling me to say, Barbara, you can do it. This is something that is a need. This is something that's supposed to be a part of, what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that voice that we do hear, we all hear it when we're just about to take the lunge, and, that's the ego,
Yes.
right? It's the ego wanting to keep you back into that safe space, wanting to say, no, you're comfortable here. Why do you want to go out there and dip your toes into a new adventure? You're fine. But then, you talk to yourself and you say, okay, ego, get in the back seat, and I'm going to be the adult in the room, and I'm going to move forward, right? But it's always that constant head game, whether you're like what you've experienced, Barbara, or for these aspiring principals who are wanting to take that leap, and they're afraid, but they can do it. It's just they need to really check in with that little voice,
The voice, yeah. And I'm so glad that little voice was in you to write your book and become this wonderful author, to give us, like I said, the tools that we all need, especially as women, because like I told everybody, people know my mission is to really help women to, just to get that exposure, and people understand, hey, we're good, we're awesome.
Of course.
We're doing things. I mean, we're in our world, in our career wise, business wise, and personal, and to help others. And now I know you wrote another book, Step Up, Step Out. Can you give us a little bit about that? Yeah, I would love to hear about that too.
Yes. So Step Up, Step Out, A Girl's Guide to Empowerment, Self-Leadership, and Success. That was my first book.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
And that book is I like the first year principle is this one, right? So the first year principle has the 52 lessons, and Step Up, Step Out has about 21 lessons. I like the model of the first book, and I used it for the second book because people sometimes are looking for a quick lesson. I go look at the table of content. I need something on how to communicate, or how to build gravitas, how to build presence. And so there's a chapter on that. This is in the Step Up, Step Out. And then at the end of every chapter or short lesson, there's a take action, right? So there are other actions you can take to deepen the lesson. So for example, I'll recommend a TED Talk, which would align with the message in my lesson. Or maybe there's another book or a chapter in a book that would be also relevant to what I just taught, just to help, deepen the knowledge, and maybe offer other resources to women who are reading the book to lead them on their own self-growth path. So That's how I wrote the first year principle as well. So I have the lesson, and then there's the take action, and then of course there's a resource section and all that at the end. But it's kind of like an all-in-one. Both books are all-in-one. There's the content, a lesson, and then there's more. There's a spin-off, and then you take action. Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
how you set up the book. I love books, and this is just me in
Yeah.
general, where you can go to the table of content if you're looking for a certain, topic or something that you really just
Yeah.
say, okay, I really need to read on this right now about, perseverance or something like that. Just as an
Exactly.
example. And then go to
Exactly.
that chapter and be able to, just read that. So I love how you did your format. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I try to put myself in the shoes of all of women who are high functioning women. They're juggling families and their personal health and wellness, which is a career unto itself these days. You need to focus on that. I talk a lot about wellness in my books, and their professional. So sometimes, they're stuck somewhere, either in their professional life or in their personal life, and they can just look and find what they need, for sure. Because I know time is precious, but sometimes you need to consume something that will give you,
That little,
that launch that you need. Mm-hmm.
that little.
Yeah, a little. Here's a little bite-sized, coaching. Take it, run with it. You have something, and then if they want to dive deeper, there's more resources in there too for that. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm loving it. Now, I know you do also the 30-day, like a virtual workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I have an online school for new and aspiring principals. So what I do is I offer courses. I offer weekly live coaching. So we it's on Wednesdays. I have two cohorts. I have a francophone cohort because I'm from Northern Ontario, so we have a lot of francophone teachers and aspiring principals, and so there's a real need for that in the French language. And I have an English cohort for all my friends or international friends. And so I teach twice. So on Wednesdays I have my cohort, and for my English cohort, and I teach one lesson a week basically. And it's an open forum where people show up live, and the sessions are recorded. So if they can't make it, because I have people from Dubai, and midnight, it does not work for them,
Wow.
Yeah. And so we talk, and they bring up their topics. Listen, I went through this week. How would you approach this situation? We're around the screen, we're talking, I'll give my input, other people will give their inputs. And then I'll plug in one lesson, something they can think about all over during the week. And so live sessions with myself and other, leaders around the screen, and it's recorded and it's uploaded in a platform, so they have access to it. It's created to be a weekly support system where we're there to empower each other, but to tool up, and if it's scheduled every week, people know that, listen, if I can't make it this week, I know I can catch it on the replay, or I can come back next week, and there's always somebody there. And as a new leader, you need that support system, because you can easily label yourself as the lonely only when you're starting off in any new position. So I'm speaking to aspiring principals, but it's like that for any new leader and any role you're transitioning to.
Definitely. I'm loving that. And just to hear again, I'm loving how you can speak. I know one thing would be in Zoom and technology, it gets you to bring in people from all over. And that's what the nice part about technology is, that like, just like you, I wouldn't be able to interview you if we weren't together here, because you're in Canada, and I'm in, and I'm going to say, probably gonna be like, what, in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
in the US. So we wouldn't be able to, meet like this. So I'm glad that you have that type of, coaching that you can do, and people can just come from everywhere and take
Yes,
it.
and I have my friends from the States who are there as well, and I love it because they bring their perspective. And then we have, people, like I said, from Dubai who bring their perspective, and from Canada, different parts of Canada. So it's really, really it's wonderful. And it's breaking down all the barriers, and we're all together in the collective, and we're like-minded, like-focused, very positive, high vibe, loving it. That's what we want.
Yes. And like you said, that's why I love, again, you just mentioned which is another key aspect that I like, is when you get together from, different countries,
Mhm.
US, Canada, Dubai, wherever, and you find out, wow, first of all, we connect. We're not just because we're in different, countries that we don't understand. And then second, we learn from each other about different, different process or topics or whatever. We learn it, like you said, a different different ways, because I might be missing something. I get my Queen Diamond from Canada to talk about a certain principle about what we were thinking. I was like, I didn't even think about that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm so glad I'm on this call, because now I can take what I was thinking and add to it, because you gave me something to, add
Yeah.
to. And that's what the nice thing about that is.
It is. And it's all about connection. I mean, when I'm connecting with people and I'm talking like I am with you today, or with, I call them my first year principal tribe, I love it because it's you need that human contact. You need to see the faces and the reactions, and you have to hear their voices. You want to hear them, explain what they've gone through during the day, and then you just listen and you support. And I've also coached many privately, one-on-one, aspiring principals, who or new principals who are having certain struggles. And a lot of my friends from the States, actually, they book with me, and we have these one-on-ones, and we work through certain issues together. And it's just nice. It's that human contact that and especially during this pandemic, it's been a lifesaver. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. I keep tell myself, I said, shoot, if it wasn't for Zoom and being able to connect with you and other ladies and then other people in general,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, what would I do? And then,
I,
I think back in the day, they had, I think it was like, I was researching it, where it was another pandemic, like in the 1800s or 1900s.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, they didn't have nothing that we have now, nothing.
Nothing. I know. We're
So
so
yeah,
fortunate to be
yeah.
able to do this. I know. It's
We had to
great.
be so grateful, so grateful. So I want to ask you, because one thing with my viewers, I always like to, my queens, is to ask, how would they, like, say for instance, somebody wants to, become an author like how you did, and your
Mhm.
wonderful books, and what would be the one tip, one advice that you would kind of give them to succeed in that?
Consistency. So by this I mean, write. It could be 20 minutes a day, but do it every day.
Mm.
And what I did was I gave myself the goal of writing for 30 minutes. I knew, first of all, the outline I wanted. I liked the
Mm.
idea of lessons because it wasn't daunting for me to have this whole outline. And like I said, I like the lessons for many reasons. One, it's practical for women, just go like I mentioned before. So my tip would be, schedule in your calendar every day, let's say 20 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is probably optimal, because by the time you get into that flow, 30 minutes of writing, put a timer on,
Mm.
write for 30 minutes. Whatever comes out, comes out. And at the end of the 30 minutes, make yourself a note of what you're going to do tomorrow when you start. So for
Mm.
example, okay, talk about this, and this. Okay. And the reason you want to do that is because when you go back the next day, it's always like, oh, I have to start again. And what if I have a writer's block? That's always the big issue, right? Then when you have those little notes to yourself, you know exactly what to do right from the start when you start
Mm.
your timer. So it takes away that dread of not knowing what to write about. And if you don't know what to write about, that's when people start procrastinating and then don't do it. So
Mm.
that's what I would do. 30 minutes. That's everybody can do 30 minutes. And at the end of your 30 minutes, give yourself homework for the next day. And don't worry about it being perfect. Just start writing, because the more
Mm.
you write and the more you see that word count rise, then you're gonna say, oh, this is feeling good. And the momentum's gonna keep building
I
on its
love that. I wish I
own.
had those tips from you. Ooh, like maybe 3 years ago when I wrote my first book.
Yeah, well, there you
It
go.
would have
You have
been so much smoother with
Yeah,
with
I
moving.
know.
Oh my God, I wish I met you 2 years ago. That is, yes. I'm loving
Yeah,
it. So everybody, listeners out there, Daphne
yeah,
she has the secret sauce. Did I call that secret sauce when you have those,
yes,
those principles? Wow, yeah.
yeah.
I know a lot of people, because that are authors, they get those you get those writer blocks, and then
Yeah,
you'd be like, oh, I don't know if I got it. Then you find
yeah,
everything else to do, except
And
that
then
30 minutes to write.
exactly. And whatever, if you know, and the key, and here's the other thing, once you finish your 30 minutes, you're in that flow. The ideas are really going, you know, really, really well. Now, of course, if you're really like, don't, if you can keep going after 30 minutes, if it's still like on fire, don't stop yourself. But when you're done, let's say your 30 minutes or your writing session past 30 minutes, whatever, then just make sure, because you have that energy, you have that flow, that's the time where you put your ideas down for tomorrow, because you're in that headspace. You know, you're not going in cold turkey. So it's just a little, and then that's again countering that ego, that negative little Debbie Downer voice that's always like, you know, you know, you don't want that. So that's what I would do. It helped. And I was doing this while I was, you know, a principal, and I have you know, a family, and I go, no, I'm going to fit it in, but I'm going to fit it in the way I can fit it in. And for me, this is ideal, because I don't know many people who are working full time and who want to write a book on the side who have 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day to focus on that. And that's a lot of, like, that's a lot of brain power. After a while, I can't just sit for 90 minutes to write. My brain right now is not like I haven't trained my brain to do that. You know, I can do a good solid 30 minutes, and that's what they're getting out of me today. And then that's it. The sponges, you know, there's no
You're
more.
like, it's like, no more, not today.
No more. Next. And then you feel good. And I also do it first thing in the morning if I can, when my energy level is high. So I try to pay myself first, right? If this is something that's really, really important to me, like writing this book, then I'll make sure to do it first thing in the morning before distractions start setting and people
Okay,
start nagging. So if you're an early riser, like a 5 a.m.er or something, you know, you set your workstation out the night before, and then you do your 30 minutes in the morning. Let's say, I'm just giving an example. And then by 6 a.m., whatever time you wake up, let's say by 6, you're done. You know, people are still sleeping and you've already worked on your book. So there's something empowering about that too.
It is. It is. And you know, just it's even the opposite, like you said, Daphne, if you find that sweet spot that you could do the writing, like for me, I'm a night owl. So I,
Yeah.
you know, when everybody's sleeping or went to bed or what have you, in the world, I always say that I could just really be like, yeah, I can, you know.
Exactly. You find what works for you. If you're, because you'll have, you know, people are either the night owls or the morning people, the morning birds, but I'm a morning
Person.
Yeah.
You're a morning
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And you know, I love, you know, I really give so much kudos to you as the morning person, the morning queen, is to get up in the morning, because it kind of starts your day off right when you think about it. It's like you got up early, you got things going, the juices are flowing, and now you're like, hey, I'm ready to hit the pavement, hit the day, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good to like I said, everybody has their time,
Yeah.
but in the morning is good when you have to start off fresh and ready to go.
Exactly. It works. It works for sure.
It works. So, Debbie, I know our time is near here. I mean, I love talking to the queens. I can just sit back and say, oh, let's just talk about this things. But I know with all our time and everything right now, but I wanted to make sure if there was any kind of last, you know, just maybe a little word for what did you want to give to the listeners before we sign off.
I would think for women to not worry about tapping into their power, and that means sometimes tapping into what we call the positive feminine and the positive masculine. And by that I mean the positive feminine being, of course, compassionate and giving and nurturing, and the positive masculine, which is to live your life aligned with your values, and to set boundaries in your life that will enhance the quality of your life. Meaning, yes, sometimes no is a full sentence, and you have to be okay with that. And to not be afraid to have your voice heard when it's something that you find extremely important and you want to stand up for a cause. So sometimes we need to and that's what we call the positive masculine. These are just general traits that are existing. So the women can either tap into the positive feminine or masculine, just like the men can tap into both of these qualities as well. So to not forget about that. And sometimes we need to tap into that positive masculine to push forward and be that diamond. So it's a good thing. So that's what I would like to leave women with, to know the difference and to really be conscious and tapping into those two powers.
Oh, I like that. I never heard of the positive masculine, and I know we have both, but I like how you put that. That was good.
Yeah,
Some
especially
good
when setting
things.
boundaries for your wellness, you need to go deep, and you need to, I'm setting boundaries because I need to grow, and this is sapping too much energy right now. So,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
yeah.
And you see, because like I said, I know we're in sync because you said the same thing I say to people too, where no is a complete sentence. I
Absolutely.
always tell people that now because I had to talk to myself all the time. I tell people, I said, when I tell you something, I'm telling me too. So I tell you, don't think that I'm all, that. I'm learning as I'm growing.
Exactly. Because sometimes you say to yourself, oh, why can't that person just not ask me? Please, just don't. But they're going to be doing what they want. So then you have to step into your sovereign power, tap into the positive masculine, and say no in a loving, compassionate way. Positive feminine. You're going to say no, and that's it.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
the more
Yeah,
you do it, the better you'll feel.
yeah. And I've been practicing.
You have to
And
keep
then
practicing. Yeah,
it,
especially
it,
that
it was
impact.
kind of it was kind of like you said, Debbie, at the beginning. It's like, oh, I said no, they're gonna be. You know how you go into that whole thing. I said no, then all of a sudden you feel all guilty or whatever. It
Yeah,
comes in, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
wait a minute, wait.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you get to step.
And enough with the apologizing. We're always
Yeah,
apologizing for everything. Why do we have to? This happens. Things happen. Sometimes it just okay. It's done. Let's move on. We have.
yeah,
So I think these are just. That's what I would leave. That's the message I'd love to send out to women is to know it's a complete sentence. We have to tap into that positive, feminine, masculine, and be aware of them. And yeah, and step into our power every day.
Well, thank you, Queen Diamond. I appreciate you so much and for your persistence in writing your book, your persistence in teaching others. You are just a very good impactor and influencer in the world. So keep doing what you do because we need you. We need to multiply you so we can have more people like you doing what you're doing. And I wish you continuous success in your life, in your business, and your personal life. And to those who are listening, thank you for joining for another special edition of the Diamond Factor Spotlight interview. You can join the Facebook community under the Diamond Factor Experience. And if you wish to be spotlighted like this wonderful Queen Diamond today, please contact me by messenger and we'll get together and get you on the show. Again, so much. I appreciate you so much, Daphne, coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And just being just like I said, shining like a diamond to the world. You take care and we will see
You
you
as
at the
well.
next diamond.
You as well, Diamond Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm hanging on your every word. The love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I'm